This has got to be the best figure that they have put out. Chat, it finally happened. The Spinosaurus is here within the Hammond Collection. This has been my most anticipated figure for the entire line. Now this is hitting Target stores right now, $59. Pre-orders sold out like instantly, and I even missed the pre-order. Thankfully, my local Target had this for order pickup, so I was able to grab this right when I got off work. And I'm literally wasting no time to get this on the table and shown to y'all. Of course, I will link this in the tagged products as well as the description so you're able to bring it home for yourself.
And of course, here is the barcode to help you find it in store.
I love the box art to this, nice and sleek. We have renders of Jurassic Park 3 Spino all across the side as well as the back. It took many years to get to this point, but we are finally here. Man, am I at a loss of words. Do I feel like a kid again? The Spinosaurus is finally here. This baby is beautiful. Right off the bat, you can see how striking those green eyes are. And I'm so happy that they made the improvements that they have since the beginning of this line. Through trial and error, they were able to basically perfect these realistic eyes, and I'm so happy that the Spinosaurus has this updated version. The coloration looks incredible. I just can't stop staring at that eye, but nice vibrant colors throughout, pretty much how we see it within the film. I would have probably liked to have seen a little bit more blue here at the sale, but nonetheless, they absolutely crushed it. You can see the paint goes all the way down with some like gradient fading throughout the tail as well. Moving to the opposite side, all the paint apps look nice and consistent, so there is nothing that is off to one side versus the other, which is great. That is what I like to see, especially since we only see one half of these figures in store. You kind of always wonder, hey, what's on the other side? The claws at the hands are nice and painted, very black glossy look, as well as the toes at the feet. But one thing I am noticing is that this dew claw right here remains unpainted, which is definitely a bummer for a Hammond Collection figure and just the Spinosaurus in general. We gotta paint that baby. Now, let's measure this baby. So they mentioned that this was the largest carnivore, ringing in at 25 inches, and I do believe it is 25 inches.
So with a casual pose, it rings in about 26 inches.
But I don't think this is the largest carnivore, because when I'm looking at the Giganotosaurus, this looks a lot longer than the Spinosaurus. So if I go like tip of the tail, right here, tip to tip, it looks like the Giganotosaurus is actually a little bit bigger. Maybe like height-wise, the Spinosaurus is a larger carnivore, but as far as length goes, the Giganotosaurus is definitely a little bit longer. And then if I were to throw Rexy into the mix, this is the very first release of Rexy. She is obviously a lot smaller than the Spinosaurus, and you can see how those two stack up right here. Let's see what this baby can do articulation wise. So we can go forwards and backwards at the neck. We have double joints there, but let's open this mouth. Let's see what this looks like. Multiple clicking joints, which is great because that'll help keep it in place. That tongue, look at that. Is there articulation? There is articulation of the tongue. That's great. So we can bring it upwards and downward. That is so cool because that's going to give us some real lifelike poses right there. That is crazy, dude. We do have some nice sculpting and texture all throughout this mouth. That is great. So happy that they added articulation right there. I love what they've been doing with the teeth on these, just like the yellowish color, and they're also like kind of softer and pliable as well. The mouth closes all the way. Here's how it looks from the front. Super intimidating looking. Man, this is awesome. So we have multiple clicks here at the mouth, so it'll open up about this far as your first click, and then we have two, and then can it go one more? So that's about as far open as that mouth can get, which is plenty of bite to wrap around a bull rex. At the first segment to the neck, it is on a ball joint, so you can take this upper part of the head and move it all different directions. Can't quite spin it all the way around, but this next joint down, you could take this entire neck piece and completely spin it around. So in conjunction with all these, we can get some great range of motion and awesome poses. The sail itself is a harder plastic like the entire body. I know with our previous mainline Spinos, it had kind of like a rubber feel to it, but this is completely plastic. The arms should be pretty much like what we've seen with the rest of our larger dinosaurs within the Hammond Collection, hinges and swivels. So I can take this arm, I can go up about that far, and then this elbow joint, so I can bring it forwards, and then is there rotation? Yeah, I can spin this guy around, and then I should be able to spin this shoulder joint around as well. Perfect. So you can bring those on in. Lots of posability right here. And then at the wrist, we have the same type of thing going on, forwards and backwards. Ooh, the claws are actually like a softer plastic. That's pretty cool. This entire hand joint right here is all like a softer plastic. Very cool. So forwards, backwards, and then can also spin it around. I love this. I'm glad that this isn't like a hard plastic piece, kind of like the Giganotosaurus. At the hips, same type of movement. We can bring them inwards and outwards. Definitely a lot more sturdy than our Legacy collection or our mainline Spinosauruses. We have a knee joint right here, which is a hinge as well as a swivel, so I can bring it forward, doing a casual walk, and then bring it backwards. And then let's see, can I spin this around? Looks like I could spin this baby all the way around as well. Great movement there. And then we have like our backwards knee, and then I can bring that back, basically like straight down, and then forwards. Nice, stiff, sturdy joints, which is what I want to see with this figure. I should be able to get like a good swimming motion out of this, which we'll do here in just a minute. And then, can I spin this around as well? If I position it just right, yep, I can spin this around also. And then at the foot, the same thing going on. So I can bring it forwards, backwards, and I should be able to spin just this foot around. Let's see. Yeah, maximum movement and sturdiness. And the more I look at it, when I was comparing like the Giganotosaurus and the Rexy, that Duclaw really should have been painted. Even like our, I think, main line, our very first Spino that they released for the Legacy Collection has this claw painted. So that really should have been done. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's not a big deal. I could paint this little area. But if I saw other figures that have this area painted, then I would expect that with the Spinosaurus. Last important area of articulation is going to be the tail. It is on a ball joint that seats into the body, and up and down and around, all the different movements. I could spin it around as well. This material is pretty consistent. It's just like a rubbery that goes over like a metal wire or like bendable wire in there. So that's really nice. And I like the way that they blend the textures together, going from hard plastic to like a rubber. Super nice. Let's see how much this tail can actually pose. And going towards y'all, look at that. That is crazy. Ooh. Great amount of movement. I mean, it's pretty much expected with the rest of these figures. And see, going upwards, that's great. I always am careful not to pose too much here at this tip because I don't want like the metal piece to like break through, kind of like what we saw with the Amber collection. But honestly, I mean, this is great. You can get it in all different directions. Now, let's see if I can get it in a swimming position, which I totally can. That extra articulation here at the legs is what's really going to help us get it in aquatic mode. Look at that. Oh man, I have an irrational fear of like deep water, and God, I would not want to be in any large body of water with this baby coming after you. Holy smokes, look at that. That is very cool. I would like to see how tall I can get this, you know, in like a distinguished gentleman or gentle lady. Yes, please, may I have some more crumpets? So this is how tall I can get it. Let's see what it measures out to be. It's about 16 inches. That is funny. I might actually just pose it like this on shelf and keep it this way. Let's put this mouth to the test though. I have my original Bull Rex from when I was a kid. I even put my initials there on the bottom of it. Let's see if this mouth can get all the way around the neck of this Bull Rex. And I think it can. Look at that. Boom, baby. I really hope that Mattel brings us a Bull Rex at some point, because that's like the last grail on my list that I want. Look how far we've come with the Spinosaurus, my favorite dinosaur. Mattel has done a great job. I really wish we would have gotten that canceled Spino, but it's okay because this new Hammond collection supersedes everyone before it. Alright, that's it. I mean, this is probably the best figure that Mattel has done for the Hammond collection, or within the top 5. They were able to capture the likeliness of the Spinosaurus from JP3. I couldn't be much happier with this. I mean, I would have liked to have seen that Duclaw painted, but all in all, it's not that big of a deal. I can paint it myself, which is fine. But I am very happy that we got the Spinosaurus when we did. If this was one of the first release that we ever received, then there would have been a lot of issues, a lot of things to correct. Noticing how Mattel has been able to adjust and test things out and fix mistakes over the course of these past few years with the Hammond collection has been great. And I'm happy that they saved the Spinosaurus for when they did. Because, I mean, it's so beautiful, it deserves to have this kind of attention. Now, again, like I said, this is hitting Target stores, $59.99. I'll tag the products here. I will also put it in the description. So if this is something that you want, I highly recommend that you pick it up, because the Spinosaurus is one of those dinosaurs that tends to sell out, and once it does, it always goes up in value quite a bit. So I don't want you to miss out when it is at retail. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this unboxing and review. Be sure to connect with me on Instagram and TikTok to stay up to date when new things drop, like the rest of our Spinosaurus figures. I also post toy photography and toy videos, things that you won't see here on YouTube. Until then, collectors, I'll see y'all in the next video.